understanding, and the purpose of my visit here is to advance Australia's interests. President Xi and I agreed that dialogue must be at the centre of our relationship. We also discussed our economic relationship, which is critical to Australia. We spoke about the potential for new engagement in areas such as decarbonisation. That was the subject of the forum that was held yesterday. This afternoon, after this, we'll travel back to the centre of Beijing for meetings with Chairman Zhao of the National People's Congress, for the annual leaders meeting with Premier Li. We'll then have a signing of various MOUs, and then we will have the CEO roundtable. The fact that senior Australian business people, led by the Business Council of Australia, have come here to Beijing, as well as were present in Shanghai, and indeed Australian businesses will also be engaged with us in Chengdu, shows how important the economic relationship is and how the Australian business community regard this as an important relationship. We will then have, later this evening, a banquet hosted by Premier Li, but I thank very much President Xi, not just for the bilateral meeting that we're able to have, but also hosting a banquet lunch there in the Great Hall of the Peoples, which is an honour which is bestowed on Australia. Whoa. There.
On the security side, did you seek assurances that Australia would be better informed in future about the PLA's Navy in Australian waters, and has China asserted its right to free navigation in those waters?
Yes, to the former, and secondly, in response, of course, it was President Xi said that China engaged in exercises just as Australia engages in exercises. Here, we'll go around. Yeah.
Thanks, Prime Minister. Can I just clarify on that answer that you specifically sought that the notification was really the issue that Australia had earlier in the year? And can I also ask if discussions were had around the case of the Australians with the young?
On the latter, yes. And on the former issue, I said what I said at the time, which was that it was within international law. There was no breach of international law by China, but that we were concerned about the notice and the way that it happened, including the live fire exercises.
You've spoken a lot about the importance of increasing dialogue, building engagement between businesses. What tangible outcomes are you looking for example, the free trade agreement?
Well, you'll see some outcomes this afternoon. I will travel back immediately after this for the leaders' meeting with Premier Li. But already what you've seen is a range of business-to-business relationships, if you like, coming forward. Some of those have been written about already. On the free trade agreement, one of the provisions, not unusually in the CHAFTA, the Chinese-Australia Free Trade Agreement that was signed by the former government 10 years ago in 2015, following the comprehensive partnership that was signed also by the Abbott government, was there's a clause in there for a review. That will happen because the 10 years has clicked in. So we'll engage in that, Paul, and then Tim.
Prime Minister, your government's made clear its concern about China's unexplained military build-up. Did you seek clarity on China's strategic or military intent, and did you seek any clarity, or did you gain any insight into China's plans for reunification with Taiwan?
I reaffirmed on Taiwan Australia's position of support for the status quo. On the
military build-up and what its purpose is, what China's strategic and military aims are.
Well, you would be surprised if that was brought forward I'm not sure what you're getting at or what you're suggesting might be have been raised. I'm not sure the context.
Well, your government's raised concerns about the military build-up and the lack of clarity around what it might be used for. Do you feel confident that China is a force for peace in the region after this meeting?
Well, what we did was we put forward Australia's position, or I did, which is that we want peace and security in the region. That is in the interests of both Australia and in the interests of China.
Prime Minister, our security partner, the United States, regards China as its greatest military threat. I'd like you, if you could, to say how do you regard China in terms of its threat, and particularly has your view on the security threat changed as a result of your sitting down with the President?
On the latter, no, it hasn't. We have strategic competition in the region, but we continue to engage in order to support peace and security in the region and stability in the region. And that's something that we advocate for. It's something I advocated for today.
Prime Minister, did the President...
And then I'll go here and then I'll come back.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Did the President express any objection to your plans about bringing the Port of Darwin back into Australian hands, or any potential response that China might take to that?
No, it wasn't raised.
Prime Minister.
PM, President Xi asked you to continue to improve the relationship, no matter what happened in the world. This seemed to be a reference to the United States. Did you make any sort of commitments in terms of the ongoing relationship with China in terms of the actions of the United States and what it may do?
I spoke about the relationship with China. That was the purpose of the visit and the purpose of the meeting. And the fact is we do live in an uncertain world, something that I've said a number of times during the recent election campaign. You might have noted that in various speeches, media conferences on a daily basis. So that is just a fact, that observation. But I was speaking about the relationship between Australia and China, and I asserted Australia's position.
You mentioned Dr. Yang was mentioned. Are you able to elaborate, and are we any closer to perhaps getting him out of jail and back home to Australia?
Well, I raised Dr. Young's case. You wouldn't expect there to be an immediate outcome. That's not the way these things work. The way it works is by that patient, calibrated advocacy. That is what Australians do. That's what my government does. And I point to my government's record when it comes to these issues. No, we're going around.
Hi, James.
Barbecue season made extra special with Nestle Milk Bag Cream.
It's easy to brush off changing your engine oil, thinking, I'll be fine for now. But what could happen if you keep putting it off or forget about it because it feels like a hassle? There's a saying that goes, just changing your engine oil on time covers more than half of car maintenance. That's how important engine oil is for your car. Engine oil is one of the most essential consumables for your car, since it has a direct effect on how well your engine performs. That's why people often say engine oil is the lifeblood of your car. To help the engine consistently perform at its best, it's essential to change the engine oil regularly. Let's take a look at what engine oil actually does for your car. Engine oil does three main things. It reduces friction and wear, helps cool your engine, and keep it clean by carrying away dirt and debris. The first thing engine oil does is prevents friction and wear. Engine oil moves through the whole engine, forming a thin layer that reduces friction and helps parts last longer. It's just like oiling a bike chain. Less friction with the gears, and the pedals spin a lot smoother. But as you drive, engine oil starts to oxidize, and its viscosity changes. If you don't change it, friction increases, because the oil can't lubricate as well. And when that happens, your engine can get damaged. The second key function is cooling. Engine oil also absorbs heat from friction and outside sources, carrying it away to keep the engine cool. If the oil can't do this, your engine may overheat and suffer some serious damage. The last key function is cleaning. Inside the engine, you get carbon deposits from incomplete combustion, tiny metal shavings, and sometimes dirt from outside. Engine oil washes all that away and keeps things clean. But as the oil ages, it can't clean as efficiently. So if you skip oil changes, sludge and gunk starts to build up, hurting efficiency, gas mileage, and engine power. In other words, If you don't change your oil on time, its viscosity and performance drop, and your engine won't be as protected. That's why it's so important to change your engine oil regularly. Just follow the schedule your car maker recommends. Most say you should change your engine oil every 10,000 to 15,000 kilometers, or about every 6 months to a year. Engine oil is your car's unsung hero. It fights wear, cools things down, and keeps everything clean. Zeekr offers engine oils tailored to every type of car. So keep up with your oil changes and keep your car protected by Zeekr. We'll be back with more interesting topics in our next episode. Thank you for watching and Move Times.
Enjoying Australia, including Beijing meeting, say that they think the approach that your government has taken as being too soft and too weak and has actually invited bullying from the CCP. I'd like your response to that. In the same vein, do you hold any concerns about the fact that Australian media were encircled by local authorities earlier today, asked to delete our footage, and that the police were going to be called because we were reporting on this business?
Well, on the issue, I'm certainly not going to comment on what the family of someone who is detained here or anyone else or anywhere else. That would be entirely inappropriate and insensitive. I understand the pressures that are on people when a loved one has been incarcerated. What we will do, though, is put forward our views in a diplomatic way in order to try to maximise an outcome. And I point towards the outcomes where Australians here in China, in Myanmar, in Vietnam, in Indonesia, the United States and the UK have all received outcomes that at the least could be called satisfactory because of my government's advocacy, and will continue to do that in order to achieve outcomes, and that is what our objective is. The media, of course, I'm here paying my respect to the media here. That's what I do. China has a different system, obviously, with the media. But certainly I'm here being accountable, straight. I came straight here and I'm going straight back. Now, Stephen, and then we'll go here and here.
Just briefly on the Pacific, did you discuss the Pacific with President Xi? Did you ask China for more clarity on its strategic objectives or urge it to work through the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat? And if you did, what was the President's response?
Well, I stated our position of peace and security in the Pacific and stated my position of our engagement in the Pacific.
Prime Minister, did she raise US pressure on Australia and other allies over the defence of Taiwan?
No. Will?
You said that President Xi didn't raise the Port of Darwin, and
yeah.
You didn't use the opportunity meeting him to explain your policy on that.
I don't need to. I've had the same position for a decade since the Liberal government chose to provide an incentive to the Liberal federal government, chose to give an incentive to the Northern Territory Liberal government to flog off an asset.
What concern did Xi raise, Prime Minister? Sorry to jump in.
None, it wasn't raised. I can't be clearer than that. I can't be clearer than to say the question I was asked was not raised. Hang on.
Did he raise complaints about Australia's foreign investment regime? Did that come up?
No.
President Xi said
Last one.
about the trajectory that we're on and that it shouldn't change regardless of the international landscape. It did appear to be a comment about Donald Trump. Did he make any direct comments about Donald Trump or the US trade tariffs in relation to, I guess, in conversations about trade?
Well, I, of course, asserted Australia's view, which was we stand for free and fair trade. We want to see an open trading system. President Xi did, as part of his remarks, of